A wild day in the adventures. What's up, guys? Mike Frank with Live Skofteland.
Hello.
No Christian Olsen today.
No Christian
It's been
Olsen.
2 weeks without Christian. I feel so weird.
It's very weird.
It's very weird. And the weather is beautiful. I feel like today is the day to like drive. And Christian's like, nah, I'm going to stay home and work from home and get crushed. So, you know, do his thing. In his defense, though, he is crushing it.
Yeah.
Everybody had a really productive morning.
That's great. That's always a good thing.
Great. All right, so let's see. We were talking this morning about real estate investment. In case you guys don't know, Liv is the one that kind of like writes our blog.
That is true.
If you ever want to go check it out, it's at frankoliverco.com under additional resources.
And blog, yeah.
Perfect. There you go. So this one's about building your wealth brick by brick, building your real estate empire brick by brick. It was pretty cool. As a matter of fact, when you look at it, there's 5 strategies on here, but there's a lot of good content. One of the things that I found the most interesting was thinking about creative financing in a way that was generating wealth through using other people's money when you don't qualify for typical financing.
That's what I was hoping you would talk more about, because I thought that was the most interesting part too.
Well, I feel like everyone talks about like, oh, flipping property, oh, flipping property, oh, flipping property.
That's easy.
Or my favorite for all of you guys that are listening out there, you have people that say, oh, I don't want to flip, I just want to rent. And it's like, that's a great idea, but...
Why? Why don't they want to flip? Is it too much money to put in?
It's too much risk. It's too much money. It's not enough profit for like the invention, the attention that it's getting. So people want to take their... I'm thinking of a specific person, so I don't want to say their name. I don't want to like throw them under the bus, but they want to take their amount of money. How much money?
$100,000.
$100,000. They want to take their $100,000 and they want to invest it and they want to get a good return.
Sure.
So they invest it in real estate and they buy a renovation property. They invest in the renovation and they resell it. The resale value is, I don't know, $170,000.
Sure.
But by the time they pay costs and expenses, and there have been some fees that have, you know, been stretched out that maybe they put onto a credit card. So their total cash outlay is like 110, and their bring in is, let's say 151.
Okay.
And they're like, 41,000. It's not enough. It's too much work. It's too hard. It's not. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's a 40% return.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Honestly, you should do it.
But the other thing is that people want to just get into the easy thing, the passive income, the take no work to make a lot of money.
Right. That's what everybody wants.
It's funny to me. Passive income with rental properties. And that's cool. So you take your $100,000 and you put it into a rental property and then you have passive income. But the problem
let's talk about how passive that income is, because you and I are working on rentals right now, and it's not exactly passive, is it? It's a lot of work. I think we're earning all the money.
Oh, I mean, we definitely do.
It's hard. It's not easy.
That girl, our client called this morning a little stressed.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know how she was when she talked to you, but she was a little stressed when she talked to me. And she just said that my neighbors and the community, and they said they called the cops and like all these things. And I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
Apparently they thought that someone had broken into the house. They were squatting. The neighbors were concerned. And all of a sudden, our property owner was so confident in us that she was like, look, I just turned my phone off. I couldn't manage the stress of not even being involved.
You're just like, whatever, I trust you guys.
Right. So then, you know, we drive by, we make sure the property is in good shape, in good order, and there's nobody squatting in the property, obviously. Although that does happen. So, whew. But, you know, the idea of passive income comes with active work, and that work costs money. So either your own time or someone else's time, and you're paying for that.
Exactly.
But the thing is that people don't realize is that people want the passive income, but they run out of capital. And that's the thing that everyone lacks.
Right.
It's ironic because capital is the easiest thing to come by, but the hardest thing to own.
Interesting.
There's always people that want to invest. There's always people that want to put out money for a return, but you can't just get money for free. So you need some level of capital in order to get some level of capital.
Right.
It's kind of like investing with nothing.
That makes sense.
So, you know, for me, it's like this delicate balance of like, you have to be flipping property, or you have to be making enough, or you have to be cash flowing enough that you can replenish your capital investment. and then you can rent property to create passive rental.
Right.
Right. So it's like you've
takes
got to
both
do
of them.
both. You
Yeah.
can't just do one. Anybody that's flipping property is making a lot of money, but that money goes away really, really fast when you buy things like trucks and cars and houses.
Sure. Yeah.
And anybody that's renting property runs out of the capital to buy more rental properties.
Right. Because it's passive.
Right. So it's like it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't. So then you get into creative financing. I used the example on the show earlier of Justin Buonamo, who used creative financing to fund his primary home, which was really interesting. And we don't see that a lot.
Okay. Why?
Why don't we see it?
Yeah.
Because most people are like, oh, let me go to the bank, get a loan, qualify for a mortgage, and move on.
Traditional way to go.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm just going to use my FHA loan or my VA eligibility, or this property qualifies for XYZ program.
Yeah.
But some people don't fit those criteria. Business owners, lower credit, high income earners with a lot of leverage.
Okay.
Right? So people that might own, I don't know, let's say they own a business vehicle in their personal name. That's leverage that's taking away from their capacity to purchase. Or
Right.
people that own property, or people that own rentals. I mean, it's challenging to qualify with these higher risk portfolios.
That makes sense.
And Justin is one of those people. He's got a lot of leverage. He's got a lot of income as well, but he has a lot of responsibility for that.
Yeah.
So he went outside of the conventional mortgage space, and he went to a creative financing option, which at the time we looked at like, bro, you're getting 8% interest. You're a psychopath.
Right. But look at rates now. I
But
mean,
yeah, and now an 8% rate is not awful.
yeah, you're just like, oh, okay.
So, by utilizing the tools, flipping, rental for passive income, creative financing, he's actually generating something for himself that otherwise he couldn't do.
Yeah.
And that is what's really cool to me, is that there's a lot of people in this market that are renting and not owning. And it's like, well, why? Oh, because I can't qualify. Well, have you tried?
Right.
Have you tried to go the creative financing route? Oh, I would never take a 8% mortgage loan. I'm like, well, 8% is not even that bad right now.
Are you kidding? Like, look at the rates.
Yeah. It's just...
So what did he do? Like, how did he get financing?
Without going into too much detail, basically he went to a creative financing option, which was a broker, a mortgage broker, who was able to find him a lender that was willing to give them personal funds. So like, imagine if, your grandpa's sitting over here with $20 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to invest this for 8% and I'm going to get 8% return on my money. And if you don't pay the mortgage, then I just take back ownership of the house. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was basically what happened. Someone, doesn't matter where they were,
Right.
California, Wyoming, Wisconsin, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Lent their personal money as a mortgage-backed security. Creative financing.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
See, there's options out there, people. You don't even know about them.
I feel like people are so focused on like getting the Louis Vuitton bag or driving the Mercedes or, the Tesla.
Tesla.
Sorry, Christian.
If you're not here, you get thrown under the bus. It's the rules.
You can't say that in this office, but anyway, they're so focused on that all of a sudden it becomes, what's my interest rate? It's like we don't even think twice. We just go, what's my interest rate?
Yeah.
And there's so much more to a mortgage than an interest rate. An interest rate is important, but you've got qualified borrowers that are taking a 650 credit score and they're like, what's my interest rate? And you're like, oh, it's, I don't know, let's say it's 6.875 or let's say it's 6.5 or say it's 7.25. It doesn't matter. And they're like, I don't know, I think I'm going to wait. And you're like,
wait for what?
What are you waiting for?
Right.
Right. And then you have other people that are like, holy shit. And you're like, is that a good number? And they're like, well, yeah, my mom's first house was 19%.
Exactly.
So like I was expecting
great.
19. Because I mean, if you don't know, that's what it was. I mean, your parents bought the house in Olney. It probably was 12,
like
15, 19%.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was what it was in the 90s.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's fine.
Right. And meanwhile, we have a credit card and we're like buying a Louis Vuitton bag. It's like 27%. We don't think twice about it.
No, that's fine. That's different.
So yeah, it's different. It's different because I wanted it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I had a really funny conversation with Courtney Burns over the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Probably can't be reproduced, but like it's fine because I wanted it. Came up, so
that's really funny.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the creative financing piece is really the most important consideration to leveraging your portfolio when you're going and you're trying to build wealth, you're trying to build something, you have to do something that you're uncomfortable with. So if you drive a Toyota, well, you never know that you can actually haul a motorboat with a Ford, right? Like you're just so focused on the one thing that you know.
Right.
And there are more options out there. So for those people that aren't homeowners yet, creative financing can be a route to take. But also, I mean, creative financing can be crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. You know, you can buy an investment property with 12 people.
I was going to say, like, yeah.
That can be creative financing.
That's interesting. There's ways to do it if you want to do it.
I feel like everyone does this every day and they just don't think about it.
Right.
Like, haven't you ever been out to dinner for like a friend's birthday and like one person pays the bill? Whether it's 4 or 6 or 60, it happens, right? And I always go to that and I'm like, oh, damn. Wow. Thank you so much. Like, it's such a far-fetched thought for me to think about paying the bill like that because I've just always been like, save your money. Don't spend it. Make sure you pay your portion. Don't ever short your, you know. But yet we crowdfund dinner all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And when it's real estate, it's like, no, we can't do that. Oh, I don't talk about money with friends. I'm like,
but you probably should, right? Because how else are you and your friends going to get rich?
Right.
Like, let's go.
Well, and you are the 5 people that you surround yourself the most, right? So if you're surrounding yourself with people that are having that conversation, you're leveraging them. So
interesting.
I don't know. I mean, even like little things, like when Chris comes around, he owns a business, he runs a business, he's smart. I mean, he might not be the smartest person on the face of the planet, but like in my mind, I feel like there's something to learn from.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so many people are like, I don't want to talk about money with friends. It's like, gosh, like, okay.
I know. This is a little bit off topic, but do you think we're out of control as a society with like financing things? I saw this post. This is the funniest thing. I shared it with Chris. Somebody, like, just to see how it worked, they financed a latte from Starbucks, like using the like pay later feature on your like phone. And it took them 6 months to pay a $6 latte. They paid $1 a month. I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but I bet the latte was like $4.92.
Yeah, it was like $4.92, and
then
they
it
paid
was like
$6.
They charged a fee to.
They paid $1 a month for a latte. I'm like, that's hilarious. It's out of control. Like, it is completely out of control.
I think the bigger challenge is that it's in control for the people that have the money.
Yeah.
Like, what would be better in this life, right? Nothing would be better in this life than sitting on a beach, drinking a Mai Tai, watching the sharks eat the gazelles or whatever your enjoyment is, right? Like, you're just doing your thing, right? And all of a sudden your phone goes ding, and you're like, oh, that's fun. I just made $12,462. You're like, I did nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what these banks are doing. These banks are literally giving you $6 at a time, and it might be $6 for a latte, or it might be $16 for, you know, a shirt, or $300 for a handbag, or $60,000 for a car.
Every single website has the option, pay later.
It just, I don't even know.
What?
Like, I was on the phone with Donovan this morning talking about phones and like camera technology and like this camera right here.
Sure.
And he was like, oh, I don't know if you played around with the new iPhone. And I'm like, dude, I haven't got a new iPhone in like 4 years.
It's been so long since I've got a new iPhone.
Yeah. And
I need one too.
You have the Pro. At least you have that.
I always get the Pro.
But it's like
but I also pay for it. I don't do that like monthly rolled into your bill thing.
Well, and I said this the other day, like there's good debt and there's bad debt. There's good leverage and bad leverage.
Sure.
And then the irony was that I was in the conversation with someone who believes in paying in cash.
Sure.
Like, if I'm going to buy a phone, I'm going to buy it in cash. If I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to buy it in cash. If I'm going to buy a purse, I'm going to buy it in cash.
110%.
It's okay. And I don't have a problem, but there's like a good leverage point and a bad leverage point.
Yeah.
An example here is like, you need a good phone because it's society. Let's leave the phone alone, right? But you operate with a very high-powered computer. Let's just say that it's $1,800. It could be $8,000. It doesn't matter. It's a high-powered computer that you need to operate. And your computer falls in a ditch.
Yeah.
You broke it. It got hacked by whatever. Well, if you buy a new computer, it's not a bad thing to take that on as leverage.
Yeah.
Because it helps you grow.
True.
If you get into a car accident, you need a new car, it's not a bad thing to leverage.
Yeah.
The bad thing is when I pull up to a house, no offense to anybody, but like I love the success that I've had in my life. And my vehicle is something that I take a lot of pride in. So I bought a really lovely car. It cost me literally $42,000. So anybody that like thinks that it's a fancy car, it's not even that expensive. And I pull up to like a $200,000 house, and the person that I'm meeting has a car that's like twice the value.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not nice. It's not like a fancy car. It's like a Nissan Altima.
Yeah, it's just new.
Which costs $52,000.
Yeah.
But they rolled in their old car payments, so now they're making $840 a month car payments, and I'm like, so
Bro.
basically you're paying $70,000 for a $50,000 car because you're rolling in bad debt just because you wanted it.
That makes no sense.
And then you're buying a smaller house than you could otherwise afford because you have this huge weighted leverage.
An $800 car payment's wild.
It's crazy.
That's insane to me.
It's literally insane.
I know people that have it, though. A lot of my friends do. I'm like, you're insane.
And it can be good leverage, right? If you use it to drive Amazon and you needed to buy a new car, shout out to Chris Wade, like he bought a new car so that he could make money. That's good leverage, right? We can argue the quality and other things there, but like if you're just buying an $800 car payment just to have a nice car, or like this is one that I love, the dudes that have like the dually pickup trucks with the big Cummins diesel engine or whatever it is, and it's like a $90,000, $100,000, $120,000 car, and then they don't tow anything.
And then they live in Baltimore City and they never drive it anywhere past
They don't tow anything.
No.
They don't haul anything. They like move a furniture or like a piece of desk.
They just get called when their friends move.
Right. Like they're not doing anything, but yet they had to have it. And so there's like a good leverage point and a bad leverage point. Should we be leveraging coffee? Probably not.
Probably not.
But in the same way, that person that took out a loan on the coffee, how is that any different than someone scanning with a credit card?
Yeah, I know. And that's true. What if you paid with a credit card and you did pay later? You're basically never going to pay for this coffee.
Well, interesting little factoid. And I don't know the details of this, but John's mom is a professional at this.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, you told me this before.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
So I don't really don't read
John's
into my
good
advice.
too. John's like told me he got me on the pay your rent with a credit card because then you get airline miles, and that was the best tip I ever got.
Yeah, you pay with the airline miles and then you pay it off.
Yeah. And then you have airline miles.
Something John's mom did was she used a credit to buy product number one, and she used a second credit to buy product number two and roll in the first credit. And then she would use the points from product number two to be able to afford product number three. And then by utilizing that, then she would move things around to like make sure that she was never behind on her monthly payment.
People are good at it.
But I mean, it was good leverage because she did this or learned how to do this when John's dad was in school and not earning an income.
Right, yeah.
So all of a sudden, it was good leverage because it's things that you need, things that you, maybe there's a little bit of a want in there, but you've now leveraged in a way to continue to move the wheels forward. And now John's dad has a great job and able to pay all those debts off without accruing any debt.
Right, it worked out.
But I think people are far too quick to click the button. Like,
pay later.
It's a firm, I think. Right?
Yeah, Firm is one of them. Yeah, Firm. And I guess that's who does it through the phone too. But I just think it's wild. Every time I see it, I'm like, pay later.
I'm like, Mike's pay later button. Just click it. Just click it. Right? Just pay me. I'll take it.
There you go. Exactly.
I'll give you $8 today to make $18 tomorrow any day of the week.
Yeah, see, the banks are the smart ones.
I mean, it's what I said before. I think that it's out of control, but it's in control for the people that have the money.
The ones that are actually doing it.
Leveraging their money to create more wealth. It's crazy. I mean, if you roll it round to real estate, right? Let's just say someone had, let's just say like a pretty big amount of money without being crazy. Like, let's say someone has like $480,000. Okay. A really big amount of money without being...
That's not ridiculous.
Insane. And it's ridiculous to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But how are we going to invest that $480,000? Well, first thing, we need to secure it. So we need to find a way to secure that $480,000 that it's not going to lose value.
Right.
We don't want it to be in a high risk investment. We don't want it to be all leveraged out in one way. So we don't want to take 480 and buy a property and renovate it because that's too much risk.
Yeah.
But maybe we want to take 480. We want to take 130 to buy a property to renovate and flip. Now that 480 sitting in the bank would be earning 4% or 5% at a high yield savings. So we need to be making more than 4 or 5%, period.
Okay.
And then we're going to take that 130 and we're going to hopefully make a significant amount of improvement on that. And what I would do personally, let's say that we made 20%. So we're making 26,000, and we're doing that twice a year. That's my goal. 20% twice a year would be great. So we're making $52,000 a year off of that 130. We're basically making a 40% margin minus some costs and expenses. I love it. Then we're taking that $50,000 and we're investing it into a passive. And we're doing that again. Invest into passive and do it again and invest into passive and do it again and invest into passive and do it again and invest into passive. And then eventually your passive investments sort of manage themselves without any influx of cash because they're making enough revenue that they can pay their expenses.
Sure.
And that to me is the way to go. So the question becomes, if you don't have the $480,000, how do you do that? And in my mind, it starts with creative financing. You just have to be willing to make. What was that first example? We said we were going to make 40 grand on a $100,000 spend, and it's like not enough.
Right.
You have to be willing to make like fucking pennies on your first transactions. If you invested 25,000 of your hard-earned money and you only made $4,000 back, guys,
it's still 4,000 you didn't have.
That's a 20% return.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And people are like, ain't not enough money. I'm like, you utilize creative financing, which costs a little bit more, but you got that one under your belt.
Yeah.
And for each one that you improve, your creative financing gets a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more systematic, a little bit more beneficial. The rates get better, the programs get better, and all you have to do is turn that 25 into 29 and 29 into 35 and 35 into 44 and 44 into 60 and 60 into 80 and 80 into 110. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you did 4, 5, 6 transactions, but without the creative financing that cost a lot at the beginning, you couldn't do the rest of it.
Right.
So the key to me is this balance of flipping versus long-term investment. And the key to that, in my mind, is you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is creative financing.
There you go.
Boom.
I love it.
I don't love it. I don't love it. It's a lot of information. We also talked a little bit about real estate investment trust, which is a whole different thing. Now you have the healthy benefits of non-taxable liability with real estate portfolio. It's very complicated. It's something that you want to consult your financial advisor and your accountant on. Sure. But a real estate investment trust can be a good way to divest some of your portfolio, especially for people that want to take care of people. Oh, I want to help my brother. Oh, I want to put my parents into a place where they can, be happy or survive. Or, hey, I've got a family friend that needs a place to live, but I don't want to go out on my own. I don't want to put my own self at risk by co-signing with them. We can create opportunities to put money into an investment trust that can also generate safe place and opportunity for a close family friend, or even if you want to do it on a more lucrative level.
Interesting.
But I think, yeah, a lot of talk today.
A lot of good stuff.
I miss having Christian and his forceful energy. Anyway, yeah. So one of the things that I think is really key here is making sure that you have a strategy.
Yeah.
And a strategist, right? Trusting in your team is what Andrea did. Is what Andrea did when she trusted us with her investment in Glen Burnie. And when she has things going crazy and going haywire, she knows that there's like a deep breath in our team. She called you this morning. She said she felt so much better after she got off the phone with you.
That's good.
And to me, that's like your growth strategist. That's your team. That's the people that you've put into place.
Yeah.
You can't really do a lot without having the confidence in those people.
Sure.
By taking advantage of some of the more lucrative financing opportunities to flip property and then rent, you can create passive revenue. But remember, it starts off with like the brick by brick development.
Right.
It's just one layer to another.
Yeah.
You guys have done 2 really big things by buying a house and Chris's business, but it's like, those are big bricks,
Yeah.
Can you layer in some small ones to continue to grow?
Exactly.
A small brick for you guys could be like another tow truck. right? That's another investment that can create some more revenue through a second, party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the same thing for real estate. Can you buy one more unit? Can you create one more opportunity? Can you, leverage sub 2 financing, which we have great leverage points on. If you guys have any questions, can you leverage buying directly from another client that might be able to provide you with their asset class documents and other things that can qualify you for loans that otherwise you wouldn't qualify for in your current position? So it's all about getting your strategy together, and always reach out to us, PM, DM, if you haven't already. You can always reach us on our website at frankoliverco.com. You can always reach me on Instagram at michael.frank____. And throwing Liv under the bus, you can reach her there too.
You absolutely can. And you can also sign up for our home buyer brunch on the 27th and our seller seminar. And all of those links are in the description. And
we do have investor seminars coming soon. So keep an eye out on that. And we will talk to you guys real soon.
Okie dokie.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.